What's good, everyone, and welcome into a brand new edition of the WCHP, the World Class Hoops Podcast, here for 2022, February the 4th, 2022. I'm your host, Chris Rouse. That's my good guy, Joseph Gregory, a student of the game, Joe with Joe. And in today's edition of the WCHP, we talking 2022 NBA All-Star selections, starters, reserves, omissions, snubs. We talking all of it. What's good, Joe? How you doing today, man? Welcome in again, bro.
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
You doing all right, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Boys got a couple of selections that we thought was well deserved. We'll see what happens. A lot of players get hurt. It seems like after they get selected or whatever. So we'll see what happens the next couple of weeks as far as our center getting a chance, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, as you all know, the NBA All-Star Game is coming up on Sunday, February the 20th. And it will be Team LeBron versus Team Durant. So for those of you that do not know, last Thursday, the NBA announced the starters for the All-Star Game. And there you see at the bottom for the Eastern Conference, it'd be Kevin Durant making his 12th appearance. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, and Trae Young will round out the starters for the Eastern Conference. And then, of course, on the Western Conference side, LeBron James, he'll be the captain representing the Los Angeles Lakers, making his 18th All-Star selection. Joe, let me get your thoughts on LeBron, man. 18?
LeBron is a machine. You can never do. You can't dispute his greatness. You really can't dispute the greatness of LeBron James, and also the consistency of LeBron James here in his 18th year, 37 years young, still really carrying the Lakers probably more than he thought he was gonna have to. But that's what he's doing right now. He gets 18th appearance in the All-Star game, and now the captain, man. And can't say that he doesn't deserve it. Probably the most, unfortunately, probably for them, probably the most deserving and only deserving Laker right now.
Yeah,
even though he's hurt.
Think about LeBron's All-Star career. His All-Star career is now officially an adult now, as he's 18 All-Star appearances.
Right.
For LeBron James. And then joining him is, of course, is going to be the reigning MVP. Nikola Jokic will be in the front court. In the back court, you'll have Stephen Curry and Ja Morant. And how about first-time All-Star Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors, man? Surprising, to say the least.
Andrew Wiggins done took that jump, man. I guess whatever they do in Golden State with the small forwards or whatever, he done took that, and he was already a talented guy himself, but now I guess being around Steve Kerr and Draymond and Curry and those guys that have already experienced greatness as far as back-to-back titles, playing a lot of big games. And now he's just stepping it up to a whole nother level. We're seeing his perimeter game now is just becoming, man, you just thought he was a guy that used to try to shake you up and get past you. Now he's shaking you up and stepping back and splashing it. So shout out to Andrew Wiggins for all his hard work and everything that he's done so far in this season right now.
Now, I have a theory on Andrew Wiggins. I think this season, no disrespect to Andrew Wiggins, but I don't think he.
That means you're going to be disrespectful.
I don't think he should be a starter. I don't think he should be an All-Star starter. I can see him getting in as a reserve because Golden State is having a good enough year where you could make the case that they could get 2. I don't know if they really should get 3. We'll talk more about them getting 3 in a little bit. But I don't think Andrew Wiggins should be a starter.
He's averaging 18. I think he probably should be a starter. But for him to be a starter, it's the fan vote. So I don't know, might be getting a lot of love from San Francisco and Oakland now, since we got the Warriors now staying in San Francisco. Might get a couple of cities voting for him. You know what I'm saying? As well as Minnesota.
Did you see the report on Andrew Wiggins where it was like it's a K-pop artist that's been pushing him to get to the All-Star game? It was from TMZ. That is
a K-pop.
It's been a K-pop artist who kind of like started he kind of started like the campaign for Andrew Wiggins to become an All-Star, and that's why he was number 3 in the front court voting. Did you see that? Did you see that story?
I didn't see that story, but I don't even know. First of all, you got to realize how old I am, Chris. So you come to me with these new terms. How about K-pop? I'm like, okay. First, I got to figure out what K-pop is. So I found out who it actually is a K-pop artist. But whatever K-pop,
it's a guy named Bam Bam, and he's a K-pop artist, which usually means pop music, but you know, it's kind of like that club, you know, like that club type thing.
Okay.
It's kind of like that, you know, like kind of like
Okay.
K-pop.
Do that again.
It's
You
kind of
might,
like
you might have to do some. You might have
that.
to say
It's kind of
that.
like that. All right, you know how like you know how you have like them club, you know, them club songs where okay, well, K-pop is making popular songs out of that.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Well, I don't know what his obsession is with Andrew Wiggins, but Andrew Wiggins should probably thank him, especially if he got one of them like All-Star game incentives in his contract. Him to ended up being the starter. It was almost like the thing I guess we was talking about. I don't know if it was you. We was talking about Zaza Pachulia. How he, it was one year he had more votes, I believe, than what center was it in the West? He had more votes there not too long ago.
Probably I can't remember, dude. Pachulia. First off, I don't even
But
remember that. So, like, but I
I
know
want to say it was
that was a
about
good
3 or
one.
4 years ago. But it was
It
like we
was
was
recent.
talking.
Yeah.
It was like he had a whole he's got the whole country of Georgia in the Soviet Union wherever he's from behind him. So that's not hard to see. You know, it's split up in the United States. You know, we got a whole bunch of players we like, but if you got one whole country voting for you, oh yeah, you're sense to make it. Think if Yao Ming was still playing.
I
Yao
was just
Ming
about to say Yao Ming was
would
a
have
great
the
example
whole
of that.
China. You know, Nikola Jokic, I would figure would have the whole Serbia voting for him, just about. You know what I'm
Remember
saying?
when, it was one year Yao Ming played like 5 games and he got voted
Yeah,
in.
played like 5 games, had like three and a half million votes.
And I want to say he placed like second in the vote, I think, that year or something like that.
He
So
might have had more. He might have had more votes than the Chinese population.
But Yao Ming, I do remember that. Shout out to Yao Ming, one of the great ambassadors. Wish the career could have lasted longer, man. But when it come back to Andrew Wiggins, go back to Andrew Wiggins. I think him and Otto Porter Jr. specifically, they're in a great position. You playing with Steph Curry, man. All you got to do is not miss shots. Just don't miss shots, dog. You in positions where you just
You say that like that's easy.
don't miss shots. Don't miss shots, man.
I don't know if you're trolling him or laughing, or you're trolling Harrison Barnes for getting out of there a few years ago, but that's almost like you're taking it for granted how easy it is just to make shots. He's making some great shots. Man. He's also got the athletic. He's also got a different type of athletic ability from Otto Porter. You say Otto Porter's probably going to be that spot up stationary shooter now at this stage of his career with some of the injuries that he's fought through. Andrew Wiggins is still
he was already that in Chicago. Let's be real.
Andrew Wiggins is still a pretty talented, still very athletic at this stage in his career. Got my man Ethan asking who's the biggest all-star snub this year.
Now hold on, before you answer that, that's a great. I'm glad he asked that because that was gonna be the next thing he was gonna go to anyway. I mean, let's start out west, man, because I think honestly, me and you, we got it all right in the West. I mean, we got it all right in the Western Conference. There you see some notable omissions of guys that didn't make it in the Western Conference, as you got the All-Star list below. There you see. I know some of these guys on this list came from you. You told me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You told me DeJounte Murray. My biggest snub is Anthony Edwards. So how about you? Who you got?
See, you got Brandon Ingram up in there also. I thought he was a little banged up a little bit through the first part of the year. That's why I really didn't think about him at the outset. But I was looking at DeJounte Murray, really. Him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm gonna start with Murray. Like you just said, averaging 21, 8, and 9, or whatever. I mean, top 5 in steals as well. So look at the kind of season that San Antonio's having. I mean, what would they be without him? You know what I'm saying? He's been playing some big time basketball, I feel like, for the whole season. I mean, you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for OKC. I mean, he's just hit some big time clutch shots most of this year. You've seen him just he's averaging a little bit less than 23 points a game for that squad. And he's like Josh Giddey, who's probably had a very good effect on him, being able to take some of the ball handling pressure off of him as a rookie and doing what he's doing, getting 6 assists a game as a rookie. So, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's the person that's going to get the ball in the clutch for them. And you know he's going to get the ball, but he's still been producing at a high rate. So, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and DeJounte Murray were the names that really jumped off this list, jumped off to me. And Edwards would probably be right behind those two.
All right. You see, we got the Western Conference list right below us. The reserves, by the way, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they're both going to represent Phoenix. Donovan Mitchell's going to represent Utah. Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, both deserving to represent Minnesota and Utah as well in the front court. For me, the hard part was that last front court spot in the West. And personally, I would have went with Anthony Edwards, man. I would have went with Anthony Edwards just because he's averaging 22 a
Now,
game.
here's the thing. Here's a new.
He's more entertaining, man. He's more entertaining. He's a better fit for the All-Star game, man. Dunking all the time, highlight reel, man.
I don't mean to cut you off, but now with the new format, are they looking at Anthony Edwards as a backcourt player, and that way he wasn't able to make it? This backcourt frontcourt thing. You got a lot of swing men. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how they classifying these dudes.
Now I got you. I got you on that. I can help you with that. Because in the Eastern Conference, Jimmy Butler is considered a front court player. And much the same as Andrew Wiggins, considered a front court player. So the way they do it now is guys that are like swing players, they usually consider front court because ideally you can only pick, if you put them in the back court, they probably don't have a chance. The guards are going to end up being it's likely going to be the same two people anyway. Chris Paul, Stephen Curry, Ja Morant, Damian Lillard when healthy. It's going to be the same guys. So front court, you can only, you got 3 slots. So they usually classify the swings as front courts because they have a better opportunity of getting in there.
So I guess that should boded well for a guy like Brandon Ingram, but it didn't. Maybe because New Orleans record, a lack of success, should I say?
And honestly, the real reason why I had Brandon Ingram on there, because I really didn't know who the hell else to put in there. It was like Anthony Edwards. Like I said, I settled for Anthony Edwards, but I was like, nah, that seemed a little too easy. And then when I looked at Brandon Ingram's numbers, I was like, I could argue that. I could see the argument for the numbers, but at the end of the day, I would have preferred to see Anthony Edwards. You mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and DeJounte Murray. Honestly, I thought they got the backcourt right. I was cool with all 4 people they picked in the West backcourt. They picked Luka, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, and they picked Devin Booker. Draymond Green was the one that I would have thought he would have missed. I thought that would have been Anthony Edwards. So who would you have had out for like a DeJounte Murray?
If I would have bought DeJounte Murray in, who would I have taken out?
Yeah.
As hard as it would have been, it might have been Mitchell. I might have been thinking Mitchell or Gobert. I think Gobert was actually like the last person that I put in on my reserve list.
Yeah.
The only reason I put him down was really because I was like, who else? Like, I don't know how they judging this front court stuff. I had Towns, I had Towns and Gobert. So I guess those 2 front quarters and everybody else that made it, which would be what Mitchell, Doncic, Booker, and Paul are all back quarters. So, which leaves a guy like, and you think about that, leaves guys like Anthony Edwards and DeJounte Mitchell in some very tough spots. Anthony Edwards averaging, both of them, I think. You got Edwards right now averaging 22 points a game.
Yeah.
Really coming into his own in his second year. And I already told you on the numbers for DeJounte Murray, as far as him being 21-9-8 and being top 5 in the steals. It's a little bit crowded. Donovan Mitchell was one of them guys that I had off at first. I think I had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on at first, and I had to take him off and put Mitchell on because I'm like, man, it's Utah. It is Donovan Mitchell.
Right, it's Donovan Mitchell.
He kind of been a little bit banged up, but it's still Donovan Mitchell. So.
Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Ethan for asking us the biggest snub question. That's our West snub. How about on the East side of things, man? In the East, man, it was quite a few guys that was a little bit interesting, man. We mentioned the reserves. We all figured that Zach LaVine would end up in the All-Star game. He did, making his second appearance. We also figured that some of the front court players would make it. We figured that we would get Jason Tatum, Darius Garland representing Cleveland for the first time in the All-Star game. So we talked about the guys that ended up making it out in the Eastern Conference. So let's talk about some of the people that weren't so fortunate to miss out. I know one of the guys you had was Bam Adebayo. So let me get your thoughts on Bam, man. What did you think about Bam kind of being left off?
He's averaging a double-double. 18 and 10 a game for a team that's right now second in the East. Yeah. I know he's had some injury problems, but sometimes I look at injuries like, how can you I'm not trying to get hurt, but when I'm not hurt, I'm producing at a very high rate. So I didn't really get the why was Bam left out? I didn't really get that one.
I figured it was the injuries, man. I figured it was the injuries that did Bam in. And also, man, Another guy that was left out was LaMelo Ball. He didn't make it. You see at the bottom, Jalen Brown was out.
Jalen Brown is averaging 24 points and
Right,
6.5 boards a game.
That was the biggest
tough.
shocker.
That was a big shocker. What do I have to do? I got my other guy, my wingman Tatum, getting 25 and a half. What do I have to do? Yeah, now, the LaMelo Ball thing. Oh, yeah.
Now, when you look at some of these teams, when you look at some of these players, I think they're out because of lack of team success. Like Charlotte is 7. Like Boston is a little bit down the ledger than usual. But then again, Fred VanVleet is making his first appearance.
Now, you also have
they're an 8.
So I didn't mean to cut you off about the 7th and the 8th spots, but right now you talk about the East. The East right now, I mean, the top 6 teams are within 3 games of each other. And because Charlotte is in 8th, they're only 4.5 back of first. I mean, that's like a good 10 days or a good 2 weeks before you can be in first, just about. I mean, the East is just crowded right now, like 20 people in the elevator.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. Because everybody in the East, like in Indiana, Sabonis got left out, and, you know.
I mean, think about Atlanta. Atlanta right now is in the 10th position as far as the playing scenario and what happens at the end of the season. And they are 7 games behind Chicago. Think about that. The 10th seed is 7 games out of first. So it's just been a lot of beating up on each other. And I think a lot of that goes with you've had players missing because of COVID. You've also had players missing because of injury. And then you got the other the thing, you know, that old heads like me don't really see as being a reason to miss games and missing games because of rest. You know, people, you know, so between COVID, the COVID protocols, it's regular injuries and not rest. You know, COVID is like another thing that's been added to that. You already had injuries and really rest for players, so now you're adding COVID to that. So it's been like you really got to win without your stars. Show that you can be successful without your star players, because it seems like everybody's had some stars have had some type of timeout.
Also in the East, Jimmy Butler made it to represent Miami. He'll be going for the 6th time. But the biggest one to me, the biggest shocker to me was Chris Middleton. I didn't see him going. I didn't see him making his 3rd appearance. So we talk snubs. Chris Middleton, I would pull him out. I would pull Chris Middleton out. And I would probably go with LaMelo, but you can't really, I don't really want to put another guard in there. So it's like, who would you put in the front court? I would go with Vucevic. I thought Chicago should have got 3. I thought the Bulls should have got 3.
Well, what is Jalen Brown classified as? Is he a front quarter or is he a back quarter? We just talked about the swing position.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how Ime Udoka has been using them. I don't know if he's got Tatum at a stretch 4 or starting Brown at a 3 right now. I don't know what he's really doing, but man, 24 points and 6 boards. They tell you that you're not one of the not worthy, especially in a year we look at a guy like Bradley Beal, who's usually like a legit all-star every year. And he's been not having the best year, and he's been a little beat up. So I think he's missing the next week or so with some wrist ligament problems in his wrist. So man, it's just really tough. I'm looking at LaMelo Ball and Jalen Brown not being able to find a way to crack the squad.
I think when you look at the All-Stars, honestly, the guys who missed the All-Star game, it tells me that the East backcourt, the future in the East is bright. Because you got to think about some of the guys that missed it. Like LaMelo missed it. Jalen Brown ended up missing the All-Star game. Honestly, I think Colin Sexton is really good, but he's been hurt in Cleveland.
Yeah,
so they went with Darius Garland.
And Darius Garland is worthy of it. He's been having a good year. Yeah.
And Kyrie's
out.
There's a lot going on in the East.
Yeah, so and you just look ahead to next year. Like if the teams were to stay as they are, you got to expect a guy like Bradley Beal. You got to expect a guy like Kyrie Irving. I mean, don't know about the COVID circumstances or whatever. He's going to be able to play all the home games. You feel like those are just 2 spots that are going to be gone next year or whatever.
Let me get your stance on this. Let me get your stance on teams getting multiple guys. Like Chicago, the Bulls got 2. Golden State got 3. Milwaukee got 2. Let me get your stance on that, because I even mentioned how I probably would have had Edwards and Towns from Minnesota, but they're in 7th. I didn't see Middleton going in. Golden State is worthy of 3, but maybe not that. Maybe not both Wiggins and Green. Maybe one or the other. They could have got 3. So let me get your stance on like some of the teams that got guys, and then think about like a Charlotte who could have got a Miles Bridges or LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, if you got a team that's deserving of 4 All-Stars, it's on the team. I mean, they all should go because I mean the All-Star game is really an individual award, but they try to couple the team success into you being snubbed, like a DeJounte Murray. They say, well, the San Antonio Spurs are 12th in the West. Like, it's
But
not
DeJounte Murray is first in steals and like
right.
top 10 and everything else.
You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander saying the same thing about Oklahoma City. You just pointed out some of the guys that's in the East, like in Charlotte. That's 4.5 games out. You got two players that's having their best game without a day. Talking about Miles Bridges, who's probably going to be in the conversation for most improved player by the time we get through this second half of the season, as well as LaMelo Ball. I'm like, both of them neither. I'm like, I didn't see both of them not making it. I really thought LaMelo Ball would have the chance to make it, just because he's having such a great year. He's an all-around talent. And I think you talk about the All-Star game in the show. You talk about you want to see Anthony Edwards go put that big dunk on somebody when he gets an open court.
Sure do. I sure do.
I feel like the same thing about LaMelo Ball and some of his wizardry when it comes down to ball handling and passing and that kind of creativity. So I definitely would like to see that in the All-Star game. And the young fellas deserve it, man. Averaging just under 20 points a game, 7 boards, 8 assists. What does he have to do?
And also, man, the talent in the NBA is really scary how much better some of these young guys are. Like Anthony Edwards is in his second year, and I'm like, yo, he should be in the All-Star game. Luka Doncic and Trae Young are already going to their second for Trae, third for Luka, and they just came in the league 4 years ago. And I had the privilege of being at both of their first All-Star game in Chicago. But the future of the league is in a great place, man. The NBA 75, you got to enjoy all the talent. But let's be real, man. Let's get one snub. Let's just call one guy who I think was name one guy who you thought was egregiously out of the All-Star game. I think I know who you're gonna go with. I'm gonna go with if I had to say egregiously,
one for the whole game or one each conference.
One for each conference. I'm gonna go with Vooch for the Bulls because I would have liked to see. Because who else do you put in that front court spot in the East, man? I thought Vucevic should have got it, but Jimmy Butler, and then so
right.
Who do you go with? So who do you go with, man? Who's your snub?
I'm sticking with Murray. And as far as the East, I'm gonna surprise it. In the Brown, Melo, the easiness. I'm gonna go with Bridges though, because I think Miles Bridges is, man, he's been having a terrific year, and I believe he didn't start off starting on that team, did he?
Miles Bridges if he wasn't starting, he was having a great year, because I remember I put him like early in my most improved for this season.
Yeah,
so he was in there early on.
That's who it is. I'm gonna go with Miles Bridges. I thought Miles Bridges was just gonna be a high flyer, and he is a high flyer. You know what? He's taking advantage of that with some of the passing that he's getting from not only LaMelo Ball, but you also got to remember Terry Rozier also on that team that catching passes too and helping him use all that athleticism. He's also averaging 7 boards, 3.5 assists. He's getting a steal a game just under a block. So he's having a good all-around year for a team that's having a pretty good year in Charlotte.
Now, I'm going to be real with you, man. The real reason why we spending so much time on guys who didn't make the All-Star game is because Kevin Durant is hurt, likely not going to play, and LeBron James has been dealing with some injuries. Also likely
both of the captains probably not going to play.
Probably not going to play. And
they'll be there in some nice suits.
And then a 10-time All-Star who is averaging almost a triple-double named James Harden, he too may not play. So, so it's a lot of guys that may not go. Darius Garland's been dealing with some injuries. The reason why we're spending time on these guys that didn't make it, because they likely will be playing anyway. So we just got two biggest snubs.
So what is Jalen Brown classified as?
Jalen Brown, I believe, is classified as a front court. I think he's front court.
If he's classified as a front court, I know Miles Bridges is also classified as a front court.
Yeah, there's no question about him. He's front court.
So either two of those guys, if Kevin Durant can't play, and he needs someone to take his place, I have no problem with either Jalen Brown or Miles Bridges doing that, taking his spot.
All right, I'm gonna tell you this: if they need a replacement in the East backcourt, it should be LaMelo Ball. I think it should be LaMelo. I think that's the biggest backcourt snub out.
Yeah, I could have it. I could see if Harden said he wasn't going to play. If he said he still had some problems with the hand, I could see LaMelo having that spot.
Yeah, I would have LaMelo in there as the backcourt replacement. Jalen Brown is considered backcourt. He's considered backcourt. So he's not considered a swing. He's considered backcourt. So it would come down to LaMelo and Jalen Brown.
That could be between if Durant can't go, send Bridges. I guess you could elevate Tatum to start or something, but have Bridges at least come off the bench because I think he deserves it. And if Harden can't play, I mean, it comes down to a coin toss just about between Jalen Brown and the versatility of LaMelo Ball.
I think Chicago should get 3. I'm going with Vucevic. But you know what, man? Honestly, I thought they would stick Jared Allen in there instead of Garland. I thought they were going to go. I thought they was
I
going to
mean,
go
for
the
the
front court route.
hometown, I guess they feel like they had enough hometown representation with Darius Garland, who's been very deserving with the year that he's had.
Before we wrap up, man, let's get some thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets, man. I know we talked about James Harden, we talked about Kevin Durant, but they've been going through the Kyrie Irving thing too, man. So Brooklyn's been going on with off the court issues. Also in the West, the Lakers, what's going on there, man? So Nets and Lakers, man. So let's talk about what was my final pick at the beginning of the year.
Was that mine? That wasn't mine, was it?
It was mine. I don't remember if it was yours, but it was mine.
Don't go back and look because they're making me look bad. I guess you start off with the Nets since that's who you started off with. I mean,
yeah, we go to the Nets.
The Nets is just really I think they're just waiting for that team to play as a whole. I think that's the whole thing with the Nets. When are they going to be like a whole? I mean, they started off struggling, but we knew that was just really Durant and Harden at that time. But then they started playing better with just Durant, Harden, and the role players, the Blake Griffins and the Patty Mills and the rookie Kessler Edwards. They're starting to come into their roles with them, and they started playing a little bit better. Now you have Durant getting hurt, gonna miss close to 2 months. But at the same time, you now have Kyrie in this weird dynamic when he's just playing really the road games. I mean, what happened when we go back home? But I think it's really just about that team coming together as a whole. I know James Harden has had some struggles or whatever. I think he just only had 4 points the other night against the Kings. First time he'd ever had the lowest amount of points he ever had when he played 30 minutes in the game. But I think it's really just about that whole team really just playing as a whole. I think the role players for them have been performing pretty well. Blake Griffin not being a role player. Nicholas Claxton, just mentioned Patty Mills and what he's been doing as a godsend, giving them another shooter off the creativity of a guy like Harden and a guy like Kyrie Irving. So I just think for Steve Nash and that team, it's really just about, I guess, trying to hold the fort down, not trying to fall too much in the standings until KD comes back, and I guess in another month or so.
Now think about what you said about Kyrie though. He can't play home games, so they could possibly get home court advantage, and he can't play in Game 7.
It could be a home court disadvantage.
Home court disadvantage.
Now the interesting part about this is Nets management can say go ahead and play, and they could just start paying them fines. I forgot what show I was watching. They broke it down. It was like, if he played like the rest of the season in the playoffs, they may have to cough up like 68 racks, which is a drop in the bucket for billionaires, I guess, especially if he gets a chance to win a title. So, yeah, for them. Don't ask me because I ain't got it.
Right, I ain't got it. Don't ask me for $68.
Oh, 68 cents.
Right.
So that's a very interesting thing with that. I mean, as they get further and they get closer to the playoffs, they get into a playoff situation where they are the 3 seed. They just say, hey, we're going to let Kyrie play. We're just going to pay this money. I think it's like $1,000 the first game, and then it just starts elevating after that. So that's a very interesting thing looking forward down the stretch with the Brooklyn Nets.
Out west, man, the Lakers, the kind of over the hill game. Oh, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Under 500. don't do that. Hey, LeBron is still an all-star captain, man. Can the Lakers salvage the season, Joe?
Here's the thing with the Lakers. I'm going to start off with the LeBron point. When they first said he had swelling on the knee, I don't know how you rehab swelling. Anytime I had to rehab swelling, you get ice or get a frozen vegetable or a steak or something. But they said they had to go rehab the swelling. I'm wondering if that a cause of concern for Laker fans, because they did win the other night. And they lost at the buzzer last night to the Clippers. And those are probably 2 of the better back-to-back efforts that you've seen from Anthony Davis in a long time. Now, if they're going to do anything while LeBron is trying to rehab this knee, I think he's going to have to be the one to get it done. He's got to go back to his 30 and 10 all the time self, which I think we've seen from him the last couple of nights. Even though against competition, you talk about Portland and the Clippers, who are on hold right now. So I think it's really just about Anthony Davis putting his foot on the pedal, trying to stay and being durable through this, at least for the next month or two, as they try to get LeBron back. And as far as Westbrook goes in that, I know he's still trying to find his footing in that. I mean, almost what you told him when he came to LA, they wanted Russell to be Russell, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what we know what he does as far as triple doubles and stat line wise, but we also know it also comes with high turnovers because he's gonna have the ball so much, and it comes with him not being the best outside. Yeah, him not being the best outside shooter. So those are the things that they've been trying to compensate for. You see Malik Monk getting a little bit more time. I think Kendrick Nunn had a little setback with his knee, but he's telling the fans or whatever, hold on, I am coming. I'm just going to be worth the wait when I come. So I think that's going to be another big thing for their backcourt is where Russell won't have to handle the ball all the time. I think they're really trying to do that now as far as putting Malik Monk in the lineup a little bit more. I know he had 10 assists the other night when they lost to Atlanta, and I believe he had about 7 last night and lost to the Clippers. But putting him on the ball a little bit more, maybe taking a little responsibility out of Russ's hands, because right now in the middle of the season, you probably didn't think Westbrook was going to be able to handle the ball that much because you probably figured LeBron was going to be there. Right now with LeBron not being there, Westbrook is the man as far as the ball handling.
And also the underwhelming shooting from Russell. Look, I love Russell Westbrook, man. I think Russell Westbrook is one of the best players to ever grace the NBA hardwood. But if you gave him a shot, just some consistency shooting the ball, I think we're possibly talking about him as one of the best players ever. Like I think, question, he's top 10. Like I would even go as far with the triple doubles. If you gave him one title one title as the lead or as one title in OKC and gave him a better shot, I think no question he's top 5. But it's the intangibles, man. It comes down to like the small intangibles with Russell Westbrook at the end of the every year. It seems like it comes down to that with him.
And another thing with the Lakers, the defense has been trash. The defense has really been trash.
In fairness, the Bulls defense has 2, and they're in first place. So I mean, so I'm starting to think maybe that's just an NBA thing, dude.
Well, I mean,
it's an NBA thing.
If the Lakers was in first place instead of being in 9th place,
and what? I mean, 2 or 3 under right now.
3 under 500.
Yeah, 3 under right now. Yeah.
17 games back of Phoenix, 25 and 28. I mean, you can't slip because in a minute you're gonna be looking at Portland and New Orleans and San Antonio, talking about can we fight them off to stay in the play-in schedule. So man, the Lakers really can't slip. So I think Anthony Davis is gonna really keep his foot on the gas pedal and keep that team together while LeBron goes through whatever he's going through with his knee.
No, I feel you on that, man. I would like to see him make it just because I want my pick to be right. And also, it's more fun when the Lakers make it, man. It's more fun when the Lakers make it, man. But for the Lakers to be this underwhelming, I didn't expect that, man. But I thank you for coming on the show, man. I mean, I'm gonna go get a haircut at some point. I've been putting it off.
I see that.
I know me and you, man. We're gonna be at the Donda homecoming event tomorrow, man. I'm looking forward to that. But so I'm gonna go get my hair cut so I can have my all black on at the Donda event tomorrow, and get some pictures in. But before we get out of here, man, one last thing I want to talk about. Ben Simmons still not traded, man. Still hasn't been traded. So the trade deadline coming up next week. Let me get your thoughts on Ben Simmons because I know how you feel about it. I just want other people to hear it.
Man, that's what I think. Let me get to the Philadelphia perspective because I know you told me to talk about it so I can make people laugh. That's what you do because you're a troll. That's why you laugh.
Welcome to the WCHP. We back, man. We back after the hiatus, man. We've been working all winter, bro. We'll come back.
Philadelphia right now is one game out of first without Ben Simmons. Now you keep hearing Daryl Morey and these guys talk about the value. Are you going to get players that are going to match the value of Ben Simmons? I mean, it depends on what Ben is he working on his game? We don't know what he's doing right now. Is he working on his game, or is he just sitting on the couch in front of a psychiatrist telling him, well, I was finna dunk the ball. I thought somebody was going to foul me. Then they booed me. Then the coach said something, and now I just can't play. So, I mean, we really got to know what's going on with Ben Simmons because at this point, they're only one game out of first. I mean, Joel Embiid has been balling, been in the MVP conversation most of the year. So I think almost at this point.
I do you one better. they were in first place to start the year, and then COVID hit. That's what took them out of first place. It wasn't like they played bad. COVID took them out of first place.
So you talk about trying to get a star back. I don't know if you're still gonna get a star back, but I wonder what is Philly's asking price. They kind of came down on their asking price. Where they be like, okay, Ben Simmons for 2 starters. I'm not gonna get 2 starters. You might feel like, okay, I'm gonna get Ben Simmons and a couple of role players. Because you think about where they are right now, they're 1 game back in the East. And this is without Ben Simmons for the whole year. So talk about addition by subtraction. I mean, you get a couple of more pieces and really be challenging for not just the East, but probably the whole thing. You get the right couple of pieces. So Ben Simmons, I don't know what he's doing right now. I have no idea what he's doing. I know one thing he's doing. He's missing money.
Right,
he's missing a lot of money. He's definitely losing money. I mean, at what point does he get with Rich Paul and his brain trust and say, look, man, I'm ready to get on the court. I need to try to play with the Sixers, try to up my own value, get my own head together, get my own game together. Or is he just gonna keep sitting around? I guess he got a lot of money to miss. He must have a whole. He must got a bag. You gotta have
$177 million contract for 5 years, bro.
Yeah, if you missing it, you just gonna sit there and miss that bag. You must got a bag to lay on to miss this bag. So I don't know what Ben Simmons is doing, but I don't think I would be surprised if you had a show next Friday and he wasn't somewhere else at this point.
Oh, and by the way, I will have a show next Friday. NBA Fridays here on the WCHP, man. NBA Fridays, man. And then we'll be back Monday with college basketball. But let me give you this on Ben Simmons. Here's my thoughts on Ben Simmons, and this is what I've been thinking all along. It's this whole decision. This whole situation is so murky. It's so dirty, dude. It's like Philly can't trade him. Philly can't trade him because they told everybody he was trash. And then, I mean, nobody wanted to take him.
I mean, if you watched the playoffs last year, I don't know. I never felt like he was trash, but damn, you watch those games against the Hawks in the playoffs, you start feeling like, yeah.
But as a team, if you bring a guy in, ideally you're trying to win in the playoffs, right? And you saw this dude be trash in the playoffs. So his value is, if Philly kind of like threw him under the bus a little bit with some, I'm not going to lie, they kind of did a little bit when it first happened, kind of threw him under the bus. But I think since then, he hasn't helped the case. He been acting like a prima donna, showing up to practice and, acting out.
You show up to practice, you got your cell phone hanging out your pocket.
Like, come on, man.
Come on, man. Be professional. Be professional. Put your damn phone in the locker room.
That's really not a good look off the court, especially when the last time we saw you on the court, you couldn't make free throws. It's not a good look, dude. It's not a good look.
It wasn't that you couldn't make free throws. You were even unwilling to try because of the threat that you might have to make a free throw. We saw you in the air like this over the rim and kick it out.
Yeah.
And then get mad at the other dude that you done forced to shoot with 4 seconds on the shot clock against 2 people bigger than him. And you looking at him like it's his problem. Nah, man. So you talk about Philly told the world that he was trash. No. National TV games against Atlanta in the playoffs, you showed people that you were trash.
Well, hold on. Time out.
You gotta. He has to
double edge, because he did show it, but also as a team, how are you gonna try to trade him after you just told him, well, he got to play better in the play? No, you can't do that. You can't do that in press conference.
It's all about
trade him.
You talk about the value. What's the value?
They hurt his
what
value.
Is the value? I think he's hurt his own value by not trying to suit up. Like, what reason has he had not to play this year?
I agree with that too.
I mean, it's just his head. We saw him come to practice. There was nothing wrong with him moving in practice, except for that big black ass iPhone 14 Plus or whatever he had hanging out his pocket. I mean, go practice. Take the game seriously. I mean, it's just been ridiculous what's going on with him in Philly, and I think they're probably gonna move on. They might have to try to do a 3-way trade because you get that man $177 million for 5 years. That's a lot of money.
It don't expire to 2025, so he yours until you can move.
Exactly. So I don't know what Rich Paul is doing, and just to be another team to try to fit all that money into your salary cap, as well as his personality, as far as what he's gonna be now and what is he gonna do. I mean, I got a lot of my friends telling me I would get him and put him at power forward, and I'm like, okay, if whatever team he get traded to. If we down by 6 points and we got 4 fouls, I'm still finna hug him every time he get the ball if he on the court.
Hack a Shack on Ben Simmons.
Until he showed me until he showed me he improved on that part of his game. And if he power forward and I'm sticking him or whatever, I'm just laying off of him and giving him all the room that he wants. 15 foot out. That's yours, brother. And once you get in here, this little 15, beat him up, send him to the line. If he goes 2 of 8, the coach gonna be like, I gotta take him off the court. And that's what's gonna be happening. He must improve his shooting. He must improve his free throw shooting if he does nothing else in this thing. If he's gonna be taken seriously to be the kind of killer and all-star player like we've seen him. The defense is great. The ball handling is great. But they have found a way to negate that now by just playing hack-a-bin and rendering you helpless to your own team. Don't be a liability to your own team.
All right, before we get out of here, man, possible destinations for Ben Simmons. I'm going with Sacramento, man. I would like to see him in Sacramento because I feel like they have pieces to move. Just send him to Sacramento, man. I don't think he would go there. I don't think he'll really do anything there, but I think the Kings can make that happen, man. Just send him there and try to work it out. You know, one stagnant situation to the next. That's all it is. That's how I see that.
Send him to Portland.
For Dame?
I mean, what has Portland done for the last? I mean, Damian Lillard gave us some great moments in the playoffs and everything, but let's be honest, they haven't really challenged for anything, and we haven't taken them seriously as far as being a contending threat. I mean, he's got to want to get out of there sooner or later, right? And it might not be for Dame. It could be for CJ. Could be for a few other pieces that they got on the team. Anthony Simons and Sid Little. I mean, put together a package. I mean, he might have a better the change of scenery wherever he goes. You got to figure it's going to do him well. But the questions that come from the media, they're not going to stop.
How about Houston? How about Houston with a small core of guys with Kevin Porter and Jalen Green and Jayshawn Tate? I know. Shout out my guy Justin Adams, but let's get some Houston.
Send him to Houston for John Wall, who's also a player that's not playing. I mean, just getting a lot of money. What's wrong with John Wall right now? He's healthy now, right? And what is he? Why is he not playing? So send 2 people that haven't been playing for each other. Send Ben Simmons, send his ass to Houston, and send John Wall and his big contract. Send that back to Philly, and let him run the ball and run the offense and throw oops to Embiid and get everybody in the right spots. Let Ben Simmons do whatever he's gonna do in Houston with Kevin Porter and those guys, and Jalen Green and that young core, like you just said, might be better for him.
Well, we're going to see, man. The NBA trade deadline is next Thursday. We'll figure out something for the deadline. I might do something for the deadline with it. But I know for a fact Monday I will have next Friday, NBA Friday. Next week I'll be back with another NBA episode. Then Monday I got the college basketball. But this has been our 2022 NBA All-Star Selections Reactions Show. I'm Chris Rouse. He's Joseph Gregory. Final words, Joe, before we get up out of here, man. Donda. That's my final word.
Yeah, man. Gonna be an exciting day tomorrow. Tomorrow night. I'm going through my wardrobe now to make sure I'm blacked out and everything.
Yeah. Should have
worn I got a couple of shirts. I don't know if I want to do t-shirt, hoodie, you want to be versatile or whatever. But yeah, man, it's gonna be in the very exciting times at UIC tomorrow. If you ain't doing nothing, man, go on spend that $20, man, and go on come down there and check out some good high school basketball tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be covering all the prep stuff on the Twitter at the WCHP. The World Class Hoops Podcast. We got Simeon versus Coronado in Vegas. We got Hillcrest versus Kenwood, and then Donda Academy versus Chicago Prep. Plus the games at Wintrust Arena: Sierra Canyon versus Glenbar West, Curie's in action against Glenbrook South. So 5 really good prep.
Very good games.
Yeah, we got the women's semifinal playoff Sunday too. So we all in the preps this week. But this was the NBA show, man. This is the NBA show. You said
you didn't say that. Exciting. You said World Class Hoops Podcast. You didn't say World Class NBA. You said hoops. So hey, I know people in the
NBA show. This episode.
I was going to tell you about my man Lil Ant that play in the alley and shoot on the crate a couple of blocks away from me, and I wanted to see if he can get some shine on the show. That's a world class crate, world class hoops, world class, man.
Hey man, we're in the description. I say wherever notable hoops content can be found. I don't know how
that is. That's
I
notable.
don't know how notable that is, but I don't know how notable that is.
You ever played on the crate? I know you played on the crate.
Crate.
All right, so that's notable.
Hey, you know where I'm from. You know I played on the crate.
I definitely know where you're from. I definitely know where you're from. I ain't even gonna shout people out to find out where you're from, because then they'd be just driving up trying to meet you and have autograph seekers out there. But I know where you're from. You will come outside and see a whole bunch of autograph seekers walking like Jehovah's Witnesses on the other side of the street with shoes and basketballs and pens out looking for Chris Rouse.
They're gonna be going door to door looking for me. Chicago State women's basketball at ESPN Plus at 1 p.m. tomorrow against Tarleton State, and then of course, like I said, we at Donda. Like Joe said, man, it's gonna be an exciting weekend. It's been an exciting episode to have you on, man. So thanks for sliding through, Joe, for this edition of the WCHP, man.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. Whenever you call on me and I'm available, man, I can do that for you.
Okay, hey, most definitely, man. I appreciate that. Just like I'm gonna be with you on Monday for Joe with Joe, the Joe with Joe morning show. We talking Super Bowl. We talking whatever you thinking about over the weekend. So we gonna be doing a whole show on Monday, man. So we'll be back for that. And then, like I said, I'll be back later Monday afternoon with the college basketball men's and women's rankings myself here on the WCHP. So for Joseph Gregory of Joe with Joe morning show and Students of the Game Chicago, I'm Chris Rouse. This has been another edition of the World Class Hoops podcast. Remember, on Twitter at the WCHP. Joe's on Twitter at JoeStuff17. I'm on Twitter at King Rouse 21. I'm sorry, Chris Rouse 21. I gotta change.
See, I had King the other day. You gonna correct me, and you gonna say the wrong thing,
bro.
Come on, man. You gonna change this to Chris Rouse or King Rouse?
I'm Chris Rouse. Chris Rouse 21. King is dead, man. King is dead. Bro. King is dead. But
shout out to J Rock and shout out to Future again.
Yeah. Shout out Kendrick, man. Shout out Kendrick too, man. But King's dead, man. Thanks, man. This is the WCHP. We out.